Greetings, friends. Prepare for another thrilling journey as we delve into Reddit's most bizarre tales. We're plunging deep into the quirkiest corners of the web. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Remember to hit subscribe and like. Let's begin. It started a few years ago, and at the time, I thought we were happy. We were your typical suburban couple, professionals, financially stable, healthy, with a good sex life, and 2 kids, a 14-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. Our life seemed normal, and I thought our social life was healthy too. However, we were hitting one of those rough patches that most married couples go through. Both of us were working long hours, not spending enough time together, and we were dealing with some developmental issues with my son, which added to the stress at home. Tensions were high, but I didn't think it was anything we couldn't handle. I noticed she was spending more time on her phone, supposedly texting her girlfriends. I didn't think much of it at first. Wanting to bridge the growing gap between us, I made an effort to be more present. I cut back on work when I could, helped around the house more, and tried to be emotionally available. Yet despite my efforts, the distance between us only seemed to grow. One day, I stumbled upon something I wasn't supposed to find. I was charging an old iPad for my son to use when I noticed my wife's Facebook Messenger was still logged in. Out of curiosity, I scrolled through her messages. Among them was a conversation with a guy from her hometown. Let's call him Jim Bob Cooter, JBC for short. The messages weren't explicitly inappropriate, but there were enough gaps in the conversation to suggest something was being hidden. I knew there were missing messages, and my gut told me to keep an eye on things. The next day, after taking the day off to complete some home projects I thought would make her happy, I left her some sweet notes reminding her how much I appreciated her. But once again, there she was in the living room, texting her girlfriends. This time, I decided to dig deeper. I took the iPad to my office and opened her Facebook Messenger. What I saw broke me. In real time, I watched as my wife tore me down to JBC. They were mocking me, my flaws, insecurities, and even the private things I had trusted her with. All of it was now a joke to them. The conversation had a flirtatious undertone, and while it wasn't outright sexting, the sexual tension was palpable, especially when they began criticizing my performance in bed. I quickly took screenshots, but I missed a lot of the messages because, as they were talking, she was deleting them. I wasn't emotionally ready to confront her. Instead, I retreated to my office, stayed there until she went to bed, and numbed myself with a few drinks. The next day, I took off work, spending the day lost in thought, drinking, and trying to figure out my next move. When she came home, she asked if something was wrong. I lied and told her I had a bad day at work. But the truth was, I had already seen enough to know where this was going. Over the next few weeks, I continued to monitor their conversations, taking more screenshots, drinking more, and detaching myself emotionally from the relationship. The messages between them became increasingly sexual, and JBC even started saying, "I love you" to her. My wife, completely enthralled, reciprocated his feelings. At that point, I knew there was no going back. I consulted a lawyer, gathered my options, and began making preparations. Then things took an even more surreal turn. One day, I discovered through their messages that JBC was coming to town to spend the weekend with my wife. They had booked a nice hotel, and while I didn't have all the details, I had enough to piece together their plans. The next day, my wife tried to butter me up. She suggested taking a weekend spa getaway with her girlfriends to relax. She promised that when she returned, we could focus on fixing our marriage. I played along, telling her it was a great idea and that I'd do anything to help us get back on track. Meanwhile, I met with my lawyer and had him draft a strong separation agreement. The terms were simple. She would move out, have weekend visitation with the kids, and there would be no child support until the divorce was finalized. Then I waited, 2 agonizing weeks of pretending everything was normal while inside. I was seething with anger like I had never felt before. Finally, D-Day arrived. I took the day off work, emptied half of our joint accounts, and left her share untouched. I had already redirected my paycheck to a new bank, closed our money market account, and got a cashier's check for her half of the funds. Afterward, I printed out 75 pages of Facebook Messenger screenshots. I didn't want to be home when everything unfolded, so I killed time running errands. Later that day, she texted me, telling me she was leaving for her spa weekend and that she loved me. I simply told her to have fun, knowing that everything was about to change. When she returned from her girls' trip, I was waiting for her. With the separation agreement in hand and the screenshots ready, I sat her down and calmly laid out everything I knew. There was no yelling, no dramatic confrontation, just cold, hard facts. She was caught, and there was no way for her to wriggle out of it. I presented her with the evidence. Every mocking message, every flirtatious remark, every declaration of love to JBC. I watched as the color drained from her face, her confident demeanor crumbling into shock and guilt. She tried to explain, tried to minimize what had happened, but I wasn't interested in her excuses. It was too late for that. I handed her the separation agreement, explaining that this was the only way forward. She would move out, see the kids on the weekends, and we would officially begin the divorce process. She was speechless, unable to process the magnitude of what she had lost. I told her that I had no interest in dragging this out. Everything was already in motion. The weeks that followed were a blur of paperwork, court appointments, and emotional upheaval. My wife moved out, and I was left to pick up the pieces of my life. But strangely, I felt a sense of relief. The anger and betrayal were still there, but the weight of the lies, the deception, and the constant monitoring had been lifted. As I began to rebuild my life, I realized that the person I had loved for so long was gone. The woman I had married had been replaced by someone who could betray me so deeply, mock me behind my back, and destroy the trust we had built over decades. It wasn't just the affair that ended our marriage. It was the complete lack of respect and empathy she had shown throughout the entire ordeal. Eventually, the divorce was finalized. I kept the house, custody of the kids was settled, and I moved on. My ex-wife. She tried to rebuild her life, but it was clear that she had lost more than she had bargained for. In the end, I realized that sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away. No amount of counseling or reconciliation could have saved what we had. Trust, once shattered, is nearly impossible to rebuild, and as much as I had loved her, the person she became wasn't someone I could ever love again. I arrived at the hotel around 8:30 p.m. and called my wife's phone from the lobby. Straight to voicemail. Not surprising, they were probably already busy. Whatever. I walked up to the front desk and asked if they could connect me to JBC's room. The phone rang 3 times before he picked up. Asterisk, asterisk, AGC, asterisk, asterisk, hello. Asterisk, asterisk, me, asterisk, asterisk, ABC, can you send my wife down to the lobby, please? Asterisk, asterisk, ABC, asterisk, asterisk, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Asterisk, asterisk, me, asterisk, asterisk, all right then. I'll just call Mrs. JDC and get her down here. Total bluff. I only knew his wife's first name, but it was enough. Asterisk, asterisk, ABC, asterisk, asterisk, inaudible shuffling, obvious panic. Asterisk, asterisk, me, asterisk, asterisk, you've got 5 minutes. Asterisk, click, asterisk. Not even 2 minutes later, my wife walked out of the elevator looking flustered. I sat her down in the corner of the lobby. Asterisk, asterisk, her asterisk, asterisk, immediately starts with excuses. It's not what it looks like. Asterisk, asterisk, me, asterisk, asterisk, I'm not here to argue. I have a stack of papers with everything that's been going on. The only reason I'm not giving these to our daughter, your parents, and emailing them to everyone we know is if you move out immediately. I knew her pride was my leverage. Our daughter, already going through a rebellious phase, would probably never forgive her. Plus, my wife was her parents' golden child, and she was obsessed with maintaining her professional image. Asterisk, asterisk, her asterisk, asterisk, mumbling, sniffling. Asterisk, asterisk, me, asterisk, asterisk, here's a check for half of the money market account. I've already withdrawn my half from the joint accounts, so you should have more than enough to find a place. She started crying, her mind visibly racing through the emotions, but I pressed on. Asterisk, asterisk, me asterisk, asterisk. This is a separation agreement. It's more than fair considering the situation. I need you to sign it and leave it at the house when you pick up your things. Do you want to see these screenshots? Asterisk, asterisk, her asterisk, asterisk, shaking her head. No. Asterisk, asterisk, me asterisk, asterisk, fine. Go enjoy your time with JVC. But if you come back to the house, this. I wave the ream of screenshots. Gets sent to everyone. I got up and left. As I walked out, I could hear her breaking down. Once I reached the car, I drove to a nearby parking lot and had my own emotional meltdown. In the past, I would have confronted her directly, cried, yelled, but this time, I managed to keep it together long enough to get what I needed. I didn't know what she did that night or over the weekend. She texted and called repeatedly, trying to talk, but I turned my phone off. By Monday afternoon, movers were at the house, and she delivered the signed agreement. We had the standard mommy and daddy need time apart conversation with the kids, assuring them we still loved them. It was the usual divorce talk. A week later, she asked to have a serious conversation for the first time since everything went down. I agreed, feeling composed and clear about what I wanted, but I figured I should at least hear her out. Asterisk, asterisk, her asterisk, asterisk, crying, begging, I'm so sorry. I want another chance. I want our family back. I'll do anything. She was on her knees, crying into my lap, but I had no intention of taking her back. Asterisk, asterisk, me asterisk, asterisk, you'll need to set up marriage counseling on your own and schedule it at a time that works for me. I can't live with you anymore, but you should stay in the kids' lives. So, a new routine began. She would come over 3 nights a week to cook dinner for the kids and spend time with them. She always left me a plate, but I made myself scarce. She would clean the house and do their laundry before heading back to her place. We went to counseling, but it was mostly her working through her guilt and issues with the therapist. She begged for forgiveness while I played the stoic victim, never revealing my true intentions. In reality, I had no intention of giving her another chance. My goal was simple: to bide my time, establish myself as the primary caregiver for the kids, and ensure she didn't have residency in the house. After a few months, I started seeing my own therapist and was diagnosed with depression and PTSD. I arranged with work to go part-time to deal with my personal issues, and they were supportive. 6 months into therapy, I told her that I couldn't forgive her and wanted an amicable divorce. I added that she was still the love of my life and maybe someday we could try again. She was devastated, but she agreed to the divorce, holding on to the hope of reconciliation. Once the divorce was in motion, I needed the kids to choose to stay with me. I left a Google search for how to survive your wife's infidelity open on the family computer and strategically placed some printed out articles about cheating where they'd be found. Sure enough, my daughter stumbled upon them. She came to me crying. I pretended she wasn't supposed to see them, telling her that mom made a mistake, but still loved her. From that moment on, my daughter, who once idolized my wife, couldn't even look at her without anger. When the time came for the court to hear from the kids, my son followed his sister's lead. Both wanted to stay with me in the house they grew up in. When the divorce was finalized, I got the house, though I had to buy out some of her equity. I also got primary custody of the kids, and because I was working part-time, I was awarded generous child support. For the last 2 years, I've been living in the house with my kids, working part-time and essentially having my lifestyle subsidized by my ex. She takes the kids on weekends, which gives me time to date around and enjoy myself with Tinder matches and a few casual relationships. In my kids' eyes, I'm the perfect father, the one who always took the high road. In my ex-wife's eyes, I'm the one who got away, the man she'll always pine for. Every now and then, I dangle the possibility of getting back together just to keep her around, though I have no intention of ever doing so. Whenever I feel like it, I have her come over for sex by offering false hope of reconciliation. But deep down, I know that's never going to happen.